Hello, I'm Vera Chwaszewska. Welcome to Philomama.
Yes. Hello, welcome.
Hello, Professor Schlieder. I'd like to ask you about Philomama. What is Philomama? Why did you decide to create it?
Okay, Philomama was from the very beginning a counseling service for pregnant women and mothers within the framework of this fertility clinic. Our basic aim was to provide methods for long-lasting well-being and happy mother-child relationships. This implies helping mothers to get rid of such things as stress, anxiety, confusions, unresolved problems, lack of self-confidence, etc. Philomama is nowadays a counseling service for all kinds of people with all kinds of problems. Is it unemployment, financial problems, addictions, and so on, whatsoever. The reason why I started this was simply to have an alternative for traditional psychotherapy and psychoanalysis.
Okay, so what is the difference between your counseling that you offer, which you offer as a professor of philosophy, and traditional psychotherapy or psychoanalysis?
Okay, I try to answer this question then. In traditional psychotherapy and psychoanalysis, we have a patient-doctor interaction. The patient comes to the doctor, the patient is aware that something is wrong, the doctor knows that something is wrong with the person. So what the doctor is doing is to come up with a diagnosis and to act accordingly. Within this picture we have to remember that the patient doesn't know exactly what is causing the troubles. The doctor, on the other hand, knows from the very beginning what the case is and is acting accordingly. In Philomama we do something completely different. Everyone coming in here to this office is not seen as a patient but as a client. This means that here we have a client-consultant relationship. No diagnosis is used. The client and me, we are cooperating instead on a peer level. It means there is absolutely no hierarchy, let's say, between you and me. In the same way, let me add, as Socrates, the old Athenian philosopher, was cooperating with the people he met on the streets on exactly this level. Socrates was providing the help for the people he met. And as we know, philosophy is a good exercise in the art of living mentally well. And this is simply due to the fact that in philosophy we do not deal with emotions, we deal with rational thinking. And the importance of rational thinking is, to my understanding, enormously underestimated. It is undisputable that the lack of physical exercise can cause or can amplify already existing health problems. It should, to my understanding, even be indisputable that a lack of rational thinking can amplify already existing mental problems in everyday life. Just let me give you an example of how these work. Many years ago I had a student who had to do a course in philosophy. It was logic as an independent study. Before she came, that student, I was alerted that she is not well, that she has mental problems, and I told me, better watch it. So when she came for the first time, she told me straightforward, she said, "Sir, I have mental problems. I see the psychiatrist almost once a week." I said, "That's okay for me, I have no problem with that." So then she had to consult me concerning her assignment, and she had to learn the basics, logic reasoning, deductive, inductive, valid, invalid, and so on. So after initial difficulties, things went quite smoothly, and she did everything quite fine. She got, as a final grade, B+, which is very remarkable for a logic course. So 2 years later also, I met her coincidentally on the streets. I said, hello, how is everything? She said, oh, fine. And she told me she doesn't see the psychiatrist anymore. I asked her, how come? What happened? She said that this philosophy course had helped her for the first time in her lifetime to use her mind. And she realized that it is totally irrelevant to deal with her traumatic childhood experiences. So this is the strength of rational thinking. Rational thinking can really keep us away from troublesome emotions. We can have a different picture towards them. So sorry if this was a little bit of a lengthy answer to your question, but
I would like to know a little bit more about what your clients can gain from your counseling. If you could talk a little bit about that.
Okay, I'll give you a short answer to that. What our clients can gain is what Aristotle, ancient philosopher, called ataraxia. Ataraxia, by definition, is the is a freedom from trouble and anxieties. So Aristotle offers a step-by-step procedure how to do that. And the funny and new thing is that ataraxia is even the first step to achieve happiness. So clients can achieve both of these things, ataraxia and what we call a happiness.
Okay, so you speak about happiness. Everybody wants to be happy, but what exactly is happiness?
Well, there is a confusion. Most people confuse happiness with feelings of pleasure, with pleasure in general. But that's a terrible mistake, because feelings of pleasure, they come and go. One does not have always feelings of pleasure. One feels so, another time one feels up to. Feelings, they go in a wavelength. Happiness, on the other hand, is a permanent state of mind. A permanent state of mind it is, and you achieve it through an intellectual exercise. That's a difference. So has nothing to do with pleasure.
Okay, could you tell me also a little bit about what other services you provide apart from counseling?
Yes, ma'am. We have a service which is called Philosophy for Children. Then we have courses for personal development, training, and we have family matters mediation.
Okay, so you spoke about children. Are children old enough to learn about philosophy? For example, would you teach them about Plato or Socrates? How does it work?
No, we would never read these philosophies for children. But we should not forget that children are born philosophers. They always ask why. You might remember this. As a child, one can never stop to ask why. Parents don't know how to stop children asking why. It ends always, and now you are quiet. So children have interesting questions like, why are there so many trees in the forest, or why is a banana yellow, and so on. So by dealing with children on this level, one is enhancing their intelligence. It is a very fruitful stimulation, and by getting acquainted to rational thinking from that age on, it is like getting a medicine for the mind. This is something general which applies to all kinds of rational thinking. We can say that this is simply medicine for the mind.
Okay, so another thing you mentioned was personality development training.
Right.
As a client, what would I gain from that?
As a client, you would first of all learn what it means to be a person among other persons, which is quite difficult, as we all know. Then you would learn about your own personality. You would learn to evaluate your weaknesses and your strengths. You would gain different communication skills, and so on and so on. Everything which has to do with communication with the other.
And I'm interested, but perhaps I won't be able to visit you in person. In what other ways can I communicate with you?
Well, you can communicate with me by email. If you don't want to send mails, we can Skype. And we are planning to offer various activities as online courses. So, for instance, an online virtual counseling session, all this is ready to take place pretty soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.